Captain Forrest here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over both these combatants to see who would win, more often not in a cross-verse situation, Hancock versus Homelander. Now if you guys are new to my channel, please leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for further content. Also, shouts to the HQ squad, massive shouts to Crusaders, massive shouts to Korin O'Keefe. He was a huge help in this video, a huge driving force with the research, so massive shouts to him. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get right into the meat and potatoes of things. I'm going to start off with Will Smith, aka Hancock, see what he brings to the table. So, Will Smith, Superman, woke up in a hospital bed with a fractured skull somewhere in the late 1920s with no memory of who he is, what happened to him, or even what his name is. The nurse tried to put a needle through his arm and the needle just broke against his skin. His skull healed shortly after that. He took the name Hancock after the nurse asked him for his John Hancock. As the years passed, Hancock turned to a homeless alcoholic bum living in a trailer off the coast of LA, performing acts of very questionable heroism on occasions, and a public relations specialist named Ray Embry, whose life Hancock saved from a train crash, decided to pay him back by turning him from a bum who does more harm than good into a true hero. When it comes to strength and attack power, Hancock is certainly not lacking. We've seen this dude casually throw a grey whale around 60,000 to 90,000 pounds over a very large distance. Hancock's shoulder bash can easily match the force of a speeding train. Casually throwing a grey whale, easily matching the force of a speeding train. Not bad at all. However, this stuff pales in comparison to a feat that Hancock performed at the end of the movie. For those of you who do not know, Hancock straight up traveled to the moon and created a crater on it. Hancock isn't just big strong though. Time to talk about his speed. For starters, Hancock reacted to a grenade launcher and deflected it with no effort. Hancock casually breaks the sound barrier when he flies. The grenade launcher in question is the Milcor MGL, which fires the same 40x 46mm low pressure grenades that the M203 fires, which have a muzzle velocity of 250 feet per second. The M32 is just the US classification for the MGL. There is no real difference. Just like with his AP, Hancock performs his best speed feat at the end of the movie. He traveled to the moon, created a crater on it, painted a gigantic heart in it, and came back before somebody noticed the change. I'm sure some of you are wondering, does Hancock have anything else to bring to the table? Well folks, let's find out. Hancock's fingernails are so sharp that he can use them to cut a hole in hardened glass. Heck, he can use them to sharpen steel. This dude has been alive for at least 3,000 years, which means he has this type of immortality, which is type 1 to be precise. Eternal life. Characters gifted with this type of immortality cannot die from natural causes, such as old age or conventional illness, but can still be killed by unnatural causes. To clarify, this type of immortality can include both those who do not age at all and those who still grow old but will never die of old age. On top of this, Hancock is capable of putting a guy's head in another guy's ass. Very classy. So that's going to round up Hancock. I'm going to go ahead and move on to Homelander to see what he brings to the table. So with the face of a movie star and the power of a god, Homelander is considered the greatest superhero alive and the leader of the Seven. Not only can he fly, but he also has superpowers and super strength and super hearing, and he can also see through almost anything except sync with his X-ray vision and then destroy it with his laser eyes. On the surface, he's affable, modest, and sincere, the ultimate Boy Scout, an American treasure, a God-fearing patriot, and just like mere mortals, even superheroes have secrets. Homelander was born sometime in spring of 1981 from the semen of Soldier Boy, America's first and greatest superhero and an unknown egg donor. Homelander was raised like a lab rat in a facility to keep others safe from his powers. The people in charge eventually regretted that he did not have a family to care for him. As an adult and loved superhero, he would act modestly with extraordinary righteousness and amiability towards others. A facade he would either hate or sadistically enjoy, especially when he used on people who knew his true colors. Homelander enjoys being able to do anything that he wants and feels secretly lonely due to being superior to everyone else. As a self-proclaimed god, he would develop a toxic relationship with Madeline Stillwell, an older woman than himself, who was the vice president of Vought International, the company that owned the Seven. She seduced Homelander in a sexual manner by playing mother to him and managed to be the only person Homelander cared about, corrupting him even further by forcing him to maintain perfect standards, manipulating and lying to him in ways that didn't go unnoticed, ultimately resulting in Homelander killing her. Right afterwards, Homelander would have a new person he would seem to care about, a son he had with a woman that he raped 8 years ago. Homelander would now seek his approval while trying to raise him in his image. I think it's time to move on down the line and talk about the strength and attack potency that Homelander brings to the table. For starters, Homelander can toss a fully grown man with one arm with no effort. We've seen this guy easily throw a baseball a massive distance. Homelander is vastly superior to Starlight, whose skin cannot be pierced by 50 caliber bullets. Madeline stated that there isn't a weapon on Earth that they haven't thrown at Homelander, and they have all failed. Homelander unfortunately scales above Soldier Boy. Keep in mind though, Soldier Boy is more comparable to Homelander than somebody like Starlight is. In fact, Soldier Boy is stated to be the only one that was nearly as strong as Homelander. When Soldier Boy was still believed to be dead, Billy stated it had to have been a H-bomb that took him out. Homelander told Starlight that he will wipe New York off the map for fun. He goes on to say he'll even throw in the town that Queen Maeve is from, because why not? Moving on to speed, Homelander casually flew at Mach 1.5 when looking for translucent. The dude is easily faster than a passenger's jet and F-16s. Heck, he broke the sound barrier as a child. Homelander has light speed attacks thanks to his laser eyes. Homelander is fast enough to keep up with Soldier Boy and is likely faster than him overall. Soldier Boy is fast enough to block Billy's laser eyes before they hit him. This means Soldier Boy is around 68.3% the speed of light, and Homelander scales to this. Huge shout out and thanks to KKrimbus for calculating this speed feat. Homelander is a skilled manipulator and has managed to hide all of his crimes from the public for a long time. On top of this, Homelander isn't inherently lacking when it comes to hand-to-hand combat and skill. He outclasses the Deep and A-Train in this regard, and while he's not completely on Queen Maeve's level in terms of hand-to-hand skill, he's capable of holding his own with her to some degree. Queen Maeve is highly skilled in the art of hand-to-hand combat and martial arts in general. So that's going to round up both these combatants. I'm going to go ahead and give my thoughts on who I think wins more often than not in a cross-verse situation. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give my thoughts on who I think wins more often than not in a unequal stats situation, and I'll also talk about a second round where both these combatants will be in a equal stats situation. So Homelander and then Hancock, I'll talk about their stats. So Homelander easily has small town level scaling, city level scaling, and there's some high-end stuff for mountain to large mountain level, like easily like high-end stuff. Very good scaling, and there's a potential to argue it for Homelander. Now Hancock, however, he does have higher AP. Easily when we lowball him is reaching island, large island, country level, and of course especially the moon feat he performed, easily like continent level. So in terms of AP, like Hancock takes AP very easily, very comfortably. His AP feats are just vastly above anything that Homelander has shown. Even if we downplay and use like low end feats for Hancock, it'd still be superior. He'd still one shot. The range is just far too big. The gap is massive. Now in terms of speed, this one's a little tricky. I don't think speed's gonna necessarily be an issue, but I'll still go over it. So we know that Homelander easily has relativistic to relativistic plus speed, easily reacting to Soldier Boy. Soldier Boy can react to Billy, Billy Butcher's heat vision. Homelander is shown to do it as well. So he's got some pretty good speed and reaction speed as well. Hancock himself has shown to fly to the moon, destroy and create like that little crater with the heart, and then fly back to Earth before anyone could like notice. That could easily range from like easily relativistic plus, potentially even FTL, considering how fast he did this before anyone like noticed. So he basically blitzed everyone on that planet, like on planet Earth, and did it all within seconds, like just really quickly. Depending on how you go about this, you could argue Hancock being faster, relative, like it just depends. I'd easily say he's pretty easily relative to Homelander. Like that speed feat alone he performed, I definitely don't think Hancock's going to get blitzed. I think it's pretty relative. If not, he'd be slightly faster. It just depends on how you go about calcing the feat and stuff. So speed, I don't think speed's necessarily going to be an issue at all. So looking at this fight in terms of win cons, so Homelander, he has his heat vision, he has his influential skills, his tactics, he has some form of martial arts under his belt. He's shown to be pretty skilled in hand-to-hand combat, especially against his fight with Queen Maeve. So he does have some assets, and of course he can fly. He has other aspects, and he has a screech, which that could be an issue, that could help. So he does have certain things in this avenue. Now when we look at Hancock, of course, he's pretty ruthless, good AP, good speed. He's very, he's very quick, good durability. He tends to just go in, one-shot people, and he's going in with some pretty interesting aspects, his nails as well. So if he gets into a tight situation, he could utilize those sharp nails to probably stab Homelander in the eyes. So he could utilize, weapon improvisation, use objects, trees, etc., etc., typical superhero fights. So he does have certain things up his sleeve. So if they was to scrap, I think Homelander will use his social influencing, try and talk down Hancock. He'll try and be like, oh hey, join the 7, you're pretty powerful. They'll probably try and shake hands. Of course, in terms of like intelligence, I definitely think like Homelander has the intelligence edge, definitely a little bit more smarter than Hancock. And then he'd probably use heat vision, try and vaporize Hancock. But of course Hancock does have the AP and durability, so he'd be able to somewhat take it pretty easily, unless obviously the heat vision hits him too long. It'd start to burn his skin. But he'd realize that, okay, wow, Hancock's pretty big, strong. They're going to try and fly at each other. Homelander's going to try and scrap, and then Hancock's just going to literally beat the dog shit out of him, unfortunately. And even if we're being generous, and let's say he does survive like the beating and he tries to use his influential skills, that's not going to work a second time. No way. Like at that point, Hancock's going to know that Homelander's just a sniveling loser, and that he's nothing more than bad product. He's just a superhero that likes to talk, full of fake news, and I just see him one-shotting him at that point. So more often than not, I have to give victory to Hancock. He just stomps, unfortunately. AP is just way too big. Speed isn't going to be an issue. He definitely has the speed and the reaction speed and the travel speed to back him up in that situation, to go at it and respond to Homelander's attacks. And because of the huge gap, I think that just completely overshadows a lot of Homelander's advantages, especially like his tactics, his social influencing, his sinister, sadistic, narcissistic and nasty tactical nature. He won't be able to implement it. And another thing I want to mention as well, Homelander, when he gets beat up, it hurts his ego actually. He starts, just like in his fight with Soldier Boy, literally, Homelander was so used to just being above everyone, he thought to himself mentally that he's just like above everyone, everyone's beneath him. And then he was shell-shocked and given a reality check when Soldier Boy beat him up and bruised him. So that could actually bruise his ego, and that could actually help Hancock in this fight. But more often than not, I have to give victory to Hancock in the first round. Unequal stats, just way too much for him. Now, moving on to the equal stats portion of the video, I have to give victory to Homelander. Since AP and speed won't be an issue, I think it's like, I guess like moderate to high diff. But I think with Homelander in this type of situation, he has an opportunity to effectively use his social influencing a lot more. His heat vision will be a problem that could definitely vaporize Hancock if he's not careful. He'd be able to use hand-to-hand combat. I think he's definitely more skilled and more smart and strategic and tactical than Hancock, so he'd be able to utilize that more in combat, and he'd just eventually overshadow and then beat Hancock. They'd definitely scrap, they definitely go at it, especially in the air, especially if they start fighting. Hancock could potentially use a little bit of weather manipulation to try and like sway and, you know, try and stagger, you know, try to disrupt Homelander, but I don't really think that's going to be enough. But more often than not, in a equal stats situation, Homelander wins. I definitely think he has the tools to take Hancock down in that environment. But if it's unequal stats, Homelander gets one shot. But thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed my video, leave a like, comment down below, and let me hear your thoughts down in the comment section. But yes, it's been real. I'll see you guys in the next one.